Welcome back to Josh the Warrior TV, where I talk about faith, where I share fitness and food, recipes and routines. So today's June, it's Monday, it's the beginning of the month, it's the beginning of the week. So I just want to dive into a little topic, not a very short video. I want to keep it short. I always talk about faith, how important that is, and as having faith is important as having foundation in your life. And when I speak about foundation, to me, the most important thing about foundation is my faith. My faith creates my values. It helps me in my everyday routine, either with fitness and even at food, right? Because you know, I learned about foundation biblically first. I believe that my spiritual relationship with Jesus Christ is what helped me to make my foundation stronger. It helped me with my prayer life. It helped me to be humble. It helped me to be more keen in situations. It helped me to be more observant. It helped me to be more respectful, and it taught me a lot of values. And I always believe that those are my core part of my foundation. There's more, right? Of course, there's more when you're a believer. But in my everyday in my everyday life, my walk, I always fall back to know how strong my foundation is, what creates my values. Because today, it's easy to be misled from media, from social media, um, from people at work, just people in general. Like if you don't have a set foundation of what you believe and who you are, it's um, easily to get influenced, right? So I always, when I was growing up, and when I entered the system, I mean, when I was growing up in prison, because I grew up all my 20s in prison, and I knew that for me to be a better person or to have stronger values, and I always believed that it was my fate. I knew that my fate had to keep me solid in my foundation. So the important thing to me was my foundation, to know my core beliefs and to stand on it, right? And it's like building a home not made out of plastic or straw like a house. It's just a saying, right? You want it built with solid concrete and bricks, where a wind can't toss it left to right, or it can't break it. It's the same thing if you don't have these strong core values and you don't have these kind of foundational faith, right? It's easy for you to crumble with feelings. If someone said something to you, or you go through an experience, what you face, either a hard time, or you get fired, or you're just anything that can break you, right? People go through things and they could be very emotional, and when they're very emotional, sometimes it could break them or crumble them. And I'm not saying that a man or a woman, for them being emotional, is something wrong. Everybody should have some kind of emotional side of them where um it shows who they are. But at the same time, if you're so emotional on a situation or a topic and it leads you to depression, and that's, to me, that seems that you don't have a strong foundation. It's the same thing. I had this conversation with this guy one time, and we try to have a mutual understanding. And I just met him, when I was at work, when I was driving, and we were sharing our values of our political beliefs. And I was listening, and I disagreed a lot of the things what he was saying, and there was a few things that I agree. And but I wasn't there to dislike the guy or not to be around the guy, because when it comes to disagree and to agree, like saying even though he's gonna share something about something that I disagree about, I'm still learning from what he's sharing, right? So, and that's a great thing, because if you agree 100% with this person, there's something that you don't have a core belief. You're just going with what anyone says or what you learn. You got to still have a strong grounds of what you believe in. So there was things that I was like, nah, that don't line up with me. And then he did ask me, and I told him, listen, um, I might not agree to a few things that you said, but it doesn't mean that I can't be around you, right? Because I have a strong foundation of beliefs and values that I live by, and it lines up with my everyday life, my core of everything, how I go by. Meaning, so in political, like, say, let's talk about the president, right? So, because that's what the issue was about. He didn't really like our president today in the United States. So I was telling him, like, listen, I might have voted for the president today, right? But if his character and his values is changing later on, after a few years, it doesn't mean that I'm going to support him no matter what, because I still have my structure of value, my foundational belief, and it's always going to stay the way it is because of my faith, right? Because a lot of my values and my faith is accordingly to biblical beliefs. So I told him now, so I believe when they were running for president, I voted for one because I felt that I could relate more to him. But now, if he started changing, it doesn't mean I'm gonna start supporting him regardless because I already voted for him. No, my values don't change. Meaning, now if he's moving away from the core beliefs of why I voted for him, then I'm not supporting him. So I'm not that type of person gonna support, or if I vote for you, that I'm always ride with you 100% in the good and the bad times. Meaning, if he's making bad decisions and he's not standing up on the values that he said he was standing up for, then that means, yes, I voted for you at the right time because you said you were going to do that. But now if you're changing and you're lying, then he lose my support. So that was the agreement, I mean, the topic that we had to talk about. Like, I'm not a diehard regardless. I'm not gonna see good in everything he does if it's bad. Like, I'm not, no, because I have a foundation of the way how I believe in things. So that was just a small little thing that we talked about. It was a very great conversation that we had, and he was a professor at a college. So, but we came to a good agreement, and we left on good terms. And I love debates just like that, when we can agree to disagree but still be around each other and say goodbye and leave on good terms with no grudges. So that's my word, for today, that I want to share how important foundation is. It's it's the it's the structure of your person, your lifestyle. And foundation is big. Not my main core of my foundation is, of course, like I said, is my faith, my beliefs. I always encourage people to have a belief. And then when it goes from faith, it goes to my health, which is fitness. Fitness is that part of that foundation of my health when it comes to uh, food and fitness. Is proper eating and proper dieting, meaning dieting just always eating. It's a lifestyle, the way how you eat, and staying away from certain food and junk food and stuff like that. And then fitness, it's like a pillar. So, and that's the foundation to keep me strong, and help me with my mental part of myself and my everyday life. So these are my main foundation, but it always starts with my spirituality, my faith, my belief. And I always believe, to make my foundation strong, it's daily. It's having a daily conversation with God, just knowing that he's sovereign, that he's always with me daily, every day of my life, every moment, every second, anything that happens, um, he's there. And either he allows it, he tests it, but it's a respect as the way how I live my life in front of him, right? Those are my foundational, which is prayer, faith, obedience, and then those are my core values, and then those values carry me as the person that I am, being around people, being genuine. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, how important foundation is, because there's a lot of people follow a lot of trends and stuffs like that nowadays, and they just jump on any type of lifestyle, and they don't have a core foundation. So I always believe it's important to have a strong foundation, because I look at, like, say fitness. I don't For me, like, fitness, I train or I work out for health. And with food, I eat I try to eat with discipline than I do with emotion. And with my life, I try to live with values, not with vibes. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that I always look forward to practice and exercise every day of my life. So, as that is said, I want to end it with a verse, how important foundation is. And I remember always this verse stayed with me when I was a daily reader in the Bible, when I used to study as hard, which I should get back and put more hours and stuff into reading. So it's Matthew 7, verse 24. Therefore, whoever hears these saying of mine and does them, I will like him to be a wise man who built his house on the rock. So meaning the way you have to learn how to build yourself, like I said, like on a solid concrete or a solid brick wall. In the verse, it's a rock, right? Not on sand where it can get wiped out when hard time comes, tough times. So yeah, that was the topic of today. It was about foundation, how important that is. Like I said, I wanted to share something that is encouraging since it's Monday, it's the beginning of the month. So I look forward to sharing more topics. Like I always say, I hope you like this video. Always subscribe to it. Subscribe to it and always like it. And if you have any comments, be more likely to comment. And have a blessed Monday and start this month with a good gratitude mindset. And see you on the next one.